Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 215. It is, hey, we're at the midpoint of the week. Happy Wednesday. Yes. Happy hump day. Some things I wanted to talk about. Project 70, we are now 30 cards in, so I wanted to touch on and give my kind of opinions on Project 70, 30 cards in. I wanted to talk a little bit about finding some Jordans. Funny story about that. And what in the world's going on with 1991 Topps Don Zimmer? Craziness. What's up, Ryan? Good morning. So Project 70, we are now 30 cards in. I love Project 70. Yet I have not bought a single card through the first 30. I'm committed to only buying Cubs cards that may come up, and I'm a little disappointed. What's up, Brian? Good morning. I'm a little disappointed that there are no Cubs cards in the first 30 of Project 70. I thought we'd see Ernie Banks, maybe Ryan Sandberg, but we haven't. I'm a little disappointed. We've seen, I think, 7 Dodgers. I'm actually keeping track of print runs and the Project 70 on a spreadsheet just to track it, because I've fallen in love with Project 70 despite not being a buyer unless there's a Cubs released. Good morning, Dan. So what's up, Herman? I did not get into Project 2020. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great idea. But I didn't buy any Project 2020 cards. Didn't really get into it like I'm getting into, Project 70. I think what's attracted me to Project 70 is the fact that it's kind of a surprise. It's not the same 20 cards rehashed day after day after day. So I like that change. I like the fact that I can go onto the Topps website. It's something I actually look forward to 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh, I'm going to go check to see if the new Project 70 cards are up. Oh, more Dodgers and Yankees. What's up, George? Yeah, lots of Dodgers and Yankees. So that part's a little disappointing, but I still like the fact that I love the art. Like the art's really cool. Some I like obviously more than others, and that's art. I mean, we all appreciate art differently, and I like the art crosses baseball cards. I think it's really cool. Brian's only buying Nolan Ryan, Project 70 and Project 2020. Yeah, they're super cool. What's up, Zach? So I've really got into just checking out the different artists, and there's 51 artists. Herman says one artist said he's only doing Yankees. Yeah, I know that one artist, I think it's New York Nico, is only doing New York subjects, so Mets and Yankees. I don't know if that's going to include New York Giants. But yeah, New York Nico is only doing New York subjects, and I think there's an artist only doing Dodgers, and that it wouldn't surprise me if that would be Ben Baller. His first was Mookie Betts. I know he's a big Dodgers fan, so it wouldn't surprise me if Ben Baller's only doing Dodgers. I think there's been 7 Dodgers subjects in the first 30 cards. I think we're up to 4 Yankees, maybe 5. So yeah, it's a big run on Dodgers and Yankees, but I'm a big fan. We saw Mike Schmidt yesterday. I thought that was cool. And it's kind of neat seeing like, oh, hey, that's a new subject. Mike Schmidt, Phillies, new subject. So of course we're going to see probably going to see a lot of Ronald Acuna. We're going to see obviously a lot of Jeter and those types of players. So Herman's sticking to Jameson and Braves. George doesn't think there's going to be a Cardinal in the whole 1,020 card run. When I look back and I started, and I think I commented on this yesterday regarding Cubs, was that it wouldn't surprise me if there's a limited number of Cubs, because there's not, and I use the term sexy, there's not really a sexy subject, uh, Jeter, Trout, Acuna, Soto. Like, we're attracted to these newer names or fairly recent names like Ryan Sandberg. Just not a big hobby name. Um, like Ernie Banks. I think we'll probably see an Ernie Banks at some point. We'll probably see a Chris Bryant because he's still, a fairly hot commodity. Not nearly so as, a couple of years ago. But I just don't think there's going to be many Cubs subjects. And now that I think about it, George, yeah, the Cardinals really don't have that sexy hobby player either. So it's going to be interesting to see the run. And that's what I think is cool. How Topps is doing this project is they're not just throwing up, okay, here's the 20 subjects. And I think that's what leads to getting tired with the project. Ray Langford. A Lou Brock Cubs Cardinals mashup. How cool would that be? That would be so awesome. I'm just looking forward to the run. And then, I've kind of the Bobby Hundreds error angle. I can't wait to see his next card, to see what he does and how he interprets the errors, if that's going to be continuing. So I'm digging Project 70. It stinks that it's heavy on Dodgers and Yankees, but I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, that's where the money is. I mean, this is a business. If they throw out Sean Dunston, they're only going to sell 25 cards and 10 of them are going to be to me probably. They've got to follow the money trail, and I get it. So the vampire teeth person is pretty cool. So George, is that the and I thought I saw a mock-up of an Acuna. Is that with like the skulls and like the weird stuff? See, I'm not into like the skull stuff. So Pearl Jam does, they've for a long time have collaborated with artists to create their concert posters. And one year, I think it was 2016, they had, and usually there's like 5 posters from different artists. And okay, that was the Acuna. So, and one year, I think it was 16, one of the 5 posters was like the Lord of Death or whatever, like with a skull and the black cape, and it's just like doesn't, like, I would not hang that on my wall. Like, of course, it's my rec room is like Cubs and Pearl Jam oriented, but that was just like I think I've got one poster hanging up. There's a couple other like baseball oriented Pearl Jam concert posters, but I digress. So Project 70, I like it. Yeah, it stinks that it's heavy on Dodgers and Yankees, but I think that's to be expected. So a couple of Zimmer comments in here. What in the heck is going on with the 1991 Topps Don Zimmer? It's funny to me, these and this isn't like a new thing as far as like a common penny card. If there was a nickel box at a card show and there was a stack of 91 Topps Don Zimmers for a nickel a piece, I would pass on them because they're worth about a half a penny to me. So it was very interesting to see 91 Topps Don Zimmer getting this big run on eBay sales. And this isn't the first time we've seen this. 90 Fleer Uribe is the most popular example of this happening. 1989 Donruss Alex Madrid, and then obviously to a kind of extent we've got the cryptocurrency Portnoy and Egg from Allen and Ginter, which I can see those a little more than a 91 Topps Zimmer that there's 4 billion cards of out in the wild. I've heard a couple different things. I heard, and I haven't looked into the origin of why these are selling for $10, $15. So the 91 Topps Don Zimmers are selling for between $10 and $20 on eBay. And those are sold. Those are actual sold sales. And a couple people have said, yes, I've sold them, got the money. So they were legit. Herman sold 3 last night. Nice. See? So it's I don't get it. I've heard a couple different origin stories. One was a couple Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Those sold for like $15, and then all of a sudden there was a run that people thought, oh, this is a $15 card, mistaking the base common for the Desert Shield. I heard one last night that it was from like a podcast. So one of these, I don't know if it was a cook group or, a kind of a Reddit thread type deal, where they were pumping it in trying to increase and inflate prices on 91 Topps Zimmer. And basically, if that's the case, and I could probably, based on how the world is treating some of these things, that's the most logical in my mind. Is that it happened in something like this, and it was just a classic pump and dump where, if it was a podcast or two guys drinking beer and they're like, hey, let's try to get 91. Let's pull this random this random common box and pull out the first card, and we're going to pump it. And they pull out 91 Topps Don Zimmer. We're going to pump it to the moon. So that Herman, maybe a fifth, not even maybe a 20th of my collection, my Cubs collection, is sorted by player. And actually 1/20th is probably 1/100th. I don't know. A very small portion of my Cubs collection is sorted by player last name. And fortunately, there's not too many Z's. So my 4 box is only like half filled. And obviously there's a lot of Don Zimmer because there's not too many last name Z's in the Cubs. So Don Zimmer was a lot. And I found like 40 91 Topps Don Zimmers. Dan laughed at my sprawled out selfie pic with 40 Don Zimmers splayed out on my rec room floor. It was, the actual, and Dan laughed at that, the whole photo shoot of myself trying to take that selfie was probably pretty comical. If there was a hidden camera, you would most likely laugh at how bad I am at trying to stage that. So Herman sold them for $7.99. Okay, so here's my thing with Cubs. So if it was a 90 Fleer Uribe, and I have sold 90 Fleer Uribes like $5 to $10 all day. In the past, I ran out of them. I'm all about it. But a 91 Topps Zimmer, it's like, I can't, even though, and it's the classic, like, I know this is a penny card, and I probably have, throughout my Cubs collection, I probably have 500 of these. What if I sell 400 and $8 a pop? That's really good money. I can turn that into a Joe Tinker tobacco card, okay? So I'm torn. I've only sold 2 Cubs cards since the project began in 2017. I sold a Dylan Cease gold refractor auto because I paid like $30 for it before I started the project. It was I was prospecting Dylan Cease, and that was my goal. And my goal was 200 on the resale, on the flip, and the comps were like 100, and I was turning down $150. It's like, this is my price. I'm a Cubs collector. I am not going to get rid of this card for less than $200. I had it listed at $250 or best offer when all the comps were 110. That was my price. I'm not a seller unless I hit this point. And all of a sudden he started rising, and then my offers went from 100 to 125 to 150, and then all of a sudden it was getting close. And I ended up selling it for $215 on a $35 sale. And then I sold a refractor auto because I had a bunch of those as well. So those are the only 2 Cubs cards I've sold since 2017. But Don Zimmer 91 Tops is probably going to be the third. I will probably list a bunch tonight just to try to jump on this gravy train. So I'm behind on the chat. I'm calling you out. Pay me for anything that I traded you that went up in value. So I should touch on that. I had a back and forth last night on Twitter, and it was regarding the 91 Tops Zimmer. And it was kind of a passive aggressive, snarky reply. That's a 2-cent comment. And I just replied back with a screenshot of the sold. And I'm like, here, like, yeah, it is a 2-cent card, but it's not selling for 2 cents. And then we go back and forth, and Rob Weaver, and the name sounded familiar, and we weren't following each other, but I remembered the name. And so the first comment he made was, we made a trade. And so I actually looked back, and I thought, well, it must have been 2019 because it wasn't last year. Definitely wasn't this year. And it wasn't in 2019. So our trade would have been in 2018. So 3 years ago, roughly 3 years ago. And his kind of comeback was, I probably traded you all those. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then he came back, and I can't remember how it all, he actually deleted all these tweets, by the way. And he came back and said, yeah, you sent me all 1980 to 1998 cards, and I sent you all 2000 to 2018 or 17 cards. And this was like 2 tweets after he said he traded me all these 91 Tops Don Zimmers, which doesn't fall between 2000 and 2017. So, okay, cool. So is that why you unfollowed me? You were unhappy with the trade? So this is how you deal with an unhappy transaction, is you unfollow the person without any communication, let it sit for 3 years, and then passive aggressively come at me on a random tweet, and then casually reply that you didn't like the trade. Come on, man. We need to communicate. And I actually had a couple instances at my day job yesterday with just non-communication. It's like, I don't know how so many people get to that point where they rely on snark, or they just let it sit, and just like, if you have an issue, bring it up. Like, if he was unhappy with the trade and came to me, and a couple people have, like, it happens. In the run of 1,000 trades that I've done in the last 3 years, I'm going to be unhappy with a couple trades. Somebody else is going to be unhappy with another trade. It's going to happen. There's going to be transactions when you do it on a volume base that one side is not going to be happy. And it could be over the cards. It could be over maybe condition. It could be over the packaging. It could be over the shipping. It could be over the communication. There's so many. Just communicate without snark, without passive aggressive, and without waiting 3 years. So I did want to get that off my back. And so then he deleted his tweets. He deleted the whole string of tweets, and I blocked him because he's a clown. Rob Dog Weaver. So Brian says, I'm handing to opposite problem. It says delivered, but the buyer doesn't have the card. That's been happening a lot with the PWE tracking, and it shows up sometimes a couple days later. I know Herman had that issue a few weeks ago. I've been having some issues, and I saw Brenton Becca tweeted he's got like 200 shipments that haven't moved since like 3 weeks ago, the second week of February. And I'm starting to see an uptick in non-receipt claims as well from that same time period. And that was probably the ice storm period. So maybe it just, because I'm sure they were shut down for a couple days, it just created such a huge backlog. Mark Hoyle, what's up, Mark? Good morning. David, good morning. Um, yeah, the sports card investor hype. Oscar Zamora. Yeah, there's Oscar Zamora, Carlos Zambrano. There's Eddie Zambrano. There's Oliver Zapata, though he never played in Chicago. He was a minor leaguer. I'm trying to think of who some of the other Z's were. There's probably a few. Oh, Ben Zobrist, and I knew there was going to be a couple that are come right off that should be obvious. No, wait, is there now? 91 Tops is going to be your local card shop March box. Prices may have risen. Actually, well, it is March. Wow, it's March 3rd already. If they feel like you may flip that. Yeah, and that's one thing. And that Zach, that's a great point. Like, that's why I don't sell any Cubs. I mean, actually, the main point I don't sell any Cubs is because that's my collection, and I keep my hobby and my business side of selling cards separate. But that's another reason. It's like I don't want to give off the appearance that I'm selling Cubs. And even though it may be something I bought at, say the card shop on Saturday, I don't want to give that. I just see, I think that's, I don't want to say slime, just kind of like slimy, I guess is the word. Like if I'm like throwing some Cubs cards on eBay, like I don't want people to think, well, I was generous with my trade, or I donated Cubs cards and now here he is selling cards. I don't want it to come off like that. That's definitely one of the reasons. The main reason is it's what I collect. I collect it. I love Cubs cards. And even if I have 500 or if I have 1,200 Rick Russells from 1978, I'm not giving them up. Now, I will trade to other Cubs fans. Sorry, Brad, I'm not going to give up any Ryne Sandberg rookie cards, but I've actually traded a couple Rhino rookies to other Cubs fans. They're like, hey, I'm a huge Cubs fan. I don't have a Ryne Sandberg rookie. And we've made deals. I've traded Dylan Cease autos, traded one for Miguel Amaya auto because I had duplicates. And that's what I collect. Herman sold his 91 Tops wax packs. You know what? I don't know if I have any 91 Tops. The only wax boxes I have a 90 Donruss, an 88 Tops, a 91 Score, and it looks like a stickers, like a 90 Tops stickers. And then I don't have a set. I don't have a factory set of 91. But I have another box of stuff. There may be some 91. I don't think so. 91 Tops has always been kind of like one of the better junk wax. 91 Tops boxes and sets always sold well for me at card shows. And I'm talking 10, 15 years ago. They sold pretty well for me. Like I could move them for $10 instead of $5. And now you're looking at like some of these, but I don't know what a wax box goes for 91 Tops, but I know 90 Tops can fetch $50, and I was selling those all day for $5 just 5-10 years ago. Ryan has 8 or 9 boxes of 91 Tops. Ryan, I would suggest if you have 8 or 9 if they're wax boxes, you can probably get a lot more money selling the actual wax boxes than what the Don Zimmers will yield, because who knows if there's going to be returns on the Don Zimmers, because ends up that, why are we buying Don Zimmers for $10? You can get in if you only pull one. I actually opened a 90 Fleer box a couple years ago, and it was just kind of a fun rip and for the Jose Uribe. And I did not pull a single Uribe out of a 90 Fleer wax box. So you may open one of those 91 Tops boxes and not even pull a Don Zimmer. That guy's a tool for deleting the tweets. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of David. There's a lot of scanning issues. It's kind of frustrating. It's almost leading to more headaches because there hasn't been much education on the actual like process of the PWE tracking. So a lot of people are, they see the tracking and they're like, oh, there's tracking, and then they'll either ask the post office, and the post office doesn't really know what these are in a lot of cases, and then they think it's a scam tracking number, or that they don't understand the process. I mean, even I've been dealing with it on a daily basis since it was instituted, and it's just like just asking other sellers and just reading tweets and forums on how does this actually work? Like, nobody knows. It's just kind of this like big guessing game, and there's so many. David's done 50 to 75 eBay standard with no issues. Just so weird. I've sent out a ton. I've only had one issue that I can think of. I've had a couple. I had one issue where the buyer reached out to me like 2 weeks. The tracking said Milwaukee, and it had been stuck in Milwaukee for like 2 weeks. And then it finally, like last week, it finally shook loose, and I think it was delivered like 3 weeks later. So that was an issue that I actually opened a lost mail claim with the tracking number. There was another issue where it was marked delivered, but the guy hadn't received it. So I think that's a case where it's like it's scanned delivered at the last hub, and then it's delivered the next day. So I have had that happen a couple times, but it just seems, and it's again going back to my numbers game. If with more volume comes more issues, and that's just all in the numbers. So I expect I sent a ton out within the last couple days with standard tracking, like 100 to 150. So I'm expecting at least a couple to people to reach out saying it's scanned delivered. I don't have it. Zach says you could sell Zimmer because it's too unique to not cash in. You will get no blowback. Make that cash. 91 Topps micro set. That Zimmer's paying for Porter's braces. Yeah, Ryan, I feel bad for Canada because I don't ship to Canada. And I feel bad. It's not personal. Like it's not personal to the person in Canada. It's not anti-Canada. It's just it's super expensive to do trades. And now if it's a trade like worthwhile, I would do it. I trade with George in Korea. So I do international trades. But we send back cards that it's not sending a bunch of although now with 91 Topps Zimmer, maybe it was worth it. But like a bunch of junk wax where it's like, I sent like 50 cards in a bubble mailer. It was $12.50 for 50 common cards, and it's like my money is better spent just avoiding it. So yeah, so I do feel bad for Canada. Don't know if it's even left the US yet. Yikes. Wow. So that's what I had for today. Wanted to hit on Project 70, and I even wanted to talk about Jordans, but it's already 7:43. I think I did see a tweet. Brad's not going to be live. Says he's going to be going this afternoon. So he won't be on. So I'm not delaying him, but I found some Jordans. I have a Jordan story from watching Brad's show. He's been talking a little bit about Michael Jordan cards lately. So I had something pop up, and it's like, well, that's strange. And I realized why it ended up being strange. So I'll share my Michael Jordan card story. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for chatting, and have a wonderful Wednesday.